Don Hicks, I want to welcome you all here to the Rick's Fly Bench today. I'm talking with Don Hicks from the Little River Enhancement Society. I had the pleasure of joining you guys last week for a few hours of fin clipping, and I wanted to learn more about your organization. So let's just talk about that a little bit. What can you tell me about Little River Enhancement Society? How long has it been around?
So Rick, we have been around, the society has been around for about 42 years.
That long.
Mr. Smith, who was the farmer and the continuing family of the time, was a cutthroat trout fisherman.
Okay.
And he liked fish cutthroat trout. So when we started as a society, we were raising cutthroat trout, and then salmon came in a bit later.
Okay.
And the cutthroat trout sort of petered off.
Okay, but they're looking after themselves now.
Yes. So as part of that, Mr. Smith and his sons have allowed us to continue the hatchery here
On the farmland.
on the land.
Yeah.
Gracias. And so we are very lucky. We have water source up above of the springs, and over the years we've had many members who've aged out, but while they were here, they added to the hatchery buildings and grew the hatchery to what it is today.
What it is today. On that note, you were talking about the springs. Let's talk about the watershed a little bit. How large is this watershed? How many? Do you know how many square kilometers it covers?
Yes. So the Little River watershed is about 19 square kilometers. And it starts up near the Seal Bay Nature Park. That's on Uban Road, and comes down through the farm, a number of farms. This farm in particular is a blueberry farm, but they go down and through the Alley's RV campsite, back to another blueberry farm, and then into a rural residential area. Emptying into the sea by the BC Ferries, Paul River Terminal.
River Ferry, so in the Comox Valley. So there's a lot of things going along its watersheds. I imagine some of those are stressors, and some of those probably have little impact.
Yes.
On the
as the more people move into the valley, land's developed. It causes stress, no doubt, but I have to say all the landowners, whether they're farms or residential or whatever, everybody is very positive and supportive of what we do.
That's great to hear. So let's back up a little bit. How many different fish species did this Little River traditionally support? Like, what do you know about the fish species that inhabited here before development and colonization of this area?
So for sure there would have been pinks, coho, chum, cutthroat trout. We do see rainbows, hybrid rainbows, because it's mostly cutthroat trout. Lamprey, there's sticklebacks. As to the other salmon types, this is not a sockeye river, and it's probably too small for springs, although from time to time we've seen springs come in, but it's not a breeding
sustainable
population.
Sure. So what salmon species does the Enhancement Society support now and rear?
So we're mostly coho and chum. The watershed is an ideal watershed for coho, because they stay in the water system for a year as fry until their smolt stage, about 15 months, and
it's ideal because it's spring fed.
It is spring fed, but there's lots of vegetation,
that shelters it,
and it's slower moving, say, than the punt leech. And it allows for the coho fry to hide. And grow and eat and all that.
And so that spring fed nature, a quality to it. The reason that it would give the water a constant temperature and some summer flow.
Yes.
Where a lot of other smaller streams of this size might dry up.
Yes, and if we look at other streams on the island, they do dry up, or they don't run to the ocean. There's a dry. So we do get more water flow in the winter and the spring and the summer, and then by fall, the springs are starting to dry up because of the water that's soaked down into the water table.
Yeah.
And it's starting to end, and however the fall rains come, and
October we start seeing some of those fall rains pick things back up again. So I had the pleasure of fin clipping last week with you guys, and how many coho did we clip last week?
we clipped 13,297.
Wow, that's amazing. And that was all done by volunteers in half a day.
Yes.
A lot of organization, of course, had to happen before that to happen. What kind of adult returns does that represent? What kind of numbers are you seeing coming back to the river now in coho and in chum?
So when we put our counting fence in October, November, last year we saw 2,300.
Okay.
The coho would have not stopped at the end of November.
No.
They would continue probably through to January. And we had the 2,000 coho that we saw, there was probably about 22% that were hatchery.
Yeah.
So clipping them, why do we clip them?
Yeah.
It's to mark them as hatchery fish.
Origin fish. Yeah.
So when we are taking brood stock in the fall, we don't take our hatchery fish. We always go for the wild
fish. So you're continually rejuvenating that gene pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're a recreational fisherman, you love to see clipped fish.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's still a pretty healthy indigenous population of salmon, coho in this stream, and what you're doing is enhancing that to ensure, that there's some money in the bank, as it were. You know, if checks have to be drawn, there's some insurance and cushion there for.
Yes. So our hatchery is not a big production hatchery.
Right.
It's a smaller one, and it's more educational and insurance.
Yeah.
Should we have an oil truck empty its load into the river and kills all the fish, we have stock which we would be able to release.
Yeah. So I've been involved in Oyster River Enhancement Society for a while, a number of years, and it's quite a much bigger operation, enhancing 4 salmon species. I've visited a few others. There's about, from the DFO's report from the community advisor, there's about 20 volunteer-run hatcheries up and down the island, all the way from Saanich to Port Hardy. Where do you place this one in terms of the size of what it does compared to the other volunteer hatcheries?
So of the hatchery onlys, we're probably on the small side.
Okay.
We're not. We're limited by the amount of water from our springs.
Yeah.
And I think really the important thing here is, yes, we raise fish, but it's to educate the public about in the Comox Valley
and to conserve the stream and the watershed as a whole, because what's good for the fish is also good for us. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So how many members are there in the society right now, Little River Enhancement?
We have about 30 members who have joined, ladies and men, and we broke them down into 7 crews. So most of those people, say at this time of the year, they're coming here, they're probably an hour they spend in the morning and clean and feed and do other duties around the hatchery.
So there's some daily things happening here.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, on that note, what are the busy times of year? Give us an outlook at what the sort of the calendar looks like.
So, coming into the end of September, we put in our fall counting incoming, returning salmon spawners fence, and that goes with a camera. And this will be the 5th year that we've had it, And it really for us, when we got the camera, it opened our eyes as to how many fish were coming and that. During that time, we also take our brood stock. So we have a trap box. So we will add, that's usually the coho, because our water is fairly warm at 8 to 9 degrees. It's coming out of springs.
Yeah.
We have a shorter incubation period than you would if it was 4 degrees.
Yeah, the natural system is usually around 3 or 4 degrees, so that doubles the time. So yeah, you're through the winter months, you're watching that, you're cleaning up the morts that show up, and then you're watching them start to hatch out in January. Then is there another busy time? Are you transferring these to the Capilano troughs or to the tanks?
So we've also, during that stage, November, December, we've taken some chum broodstock from Little River, plus supplementing chum eggs from Puntledge.
Great.
And so those eggs are hatching too about in January.
Yeah.
They'll be coming, both the coho and the chum will be coming out of the incubation units, and probably February-ish, sometime in there, and we will then put them into the troughs and the tanks.
Okay.
And then it's a matter of feeding them.
Yeah.
They're not big eaters at the start, and then they gradually they become little piranhas.
Start packing on the weight.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, now, as we mentioned last week, this is in June now, we're fin clipping those coho fries.
So going back a little bit, coming into the end of March, 1st of April, we start letting the chum will have reached the 2 grams, and we start to let them go, and they're going to go right out into the sea as fast as they can.
Fast as they can, yeah.
And last year's coho fry are now 1-year-old smolts, and they've made that transformation.
Yeah.
And we let them go in the end of April. 1st of May.
And what size do they typically attain by then for you, the coho, for you to release?
So we have to put them on diets and try to mimic the wild coho smolt size. So we usually try for about an 18-gram size. Yeah. Feeding them only once every 4 days, but they continue to grow.
You want them hungry when they get out there. They want to go after the food that's naturally there because they're going to be hungry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Volunteering, obviously, giving your time to the hatchery operation at busy times of year. If a person was interested in helping out a hatchery, if they didn't have time, maybe they're working full time still. They're raising the family, stuff like that. What's another way the average household person can support a society like this, whether you're in Saanich or here in Comox Valley or up in Port Hardy? What are some other ways they can support?
So we accept donations, and we do have a donation page on our website, and we will give you a CRA
tax-free receipt.
Receipt. Coming out, we do have times where we say clip, or have, and I'll try to send out a notice so that you can come. If you could, maybe it's 1 day a year you can come and help.
Yeah.
If we're doing restoration projects, there's a number of businesses that do support us, and we take their services and goods, and we do acknowledge that they've contributed to us.
So there's a variety of ways. I mean, you talked about tree planting recently along the watershed. You know, if you own property along one of these watersheds on Vancouver Island that supports salmon and cutthroat trout, you could plant trees.
Absolutely, and we have Mosaic Forestry gives away trees to the public, and if you ever attend the River Never Sleeps Festival at Rosewall Creek in May, the Mosaic is there with a booth and lots of trees to give away.
And we all know how important that shade is to the whole biosphere in the stream. helping rear those vulnerable salmon and keeping them going through the summer
Yeah.
when it can get so hot.
One of the things which we didn't cover was that we're a partner with DFO on the Stream to Sea
Yep.
project, which is bringing salmon eggs to the classroom.
Right,
And
exactly.
so our partner is Airport Elementary, and we supply eggs for 2 classrooms.
Yeah.
And the kids there get to see eggs hatch, go through the alvin stage to the swim up stage, and then they get to release the fry
Into the
into the stream.
What a fantastic program.
And these kids remember this
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Their whole life.
Yeah, and then when they go to the stream and they see these little fry, they know that might be the one that I had in the classroom.
That's right.
Or
And
else not, it's his friend.
and I've met lots of adults who tell me, oh, when they were a kid,
Yeah, they did that.
They
yeah.
did that.
Well, yeah, when I was teaching, I did that for years in my classroom up in Campbell River. It was a fantastic way to get the kids to nurture something in the classroom that, first of all, I didn't really have to clean up after, like a guinea pig or something, but also just because it's a naturally occurring thing in our environment, we should, I was encouraging them to just, pay attention to what's going on in the watersheds around your home, because there are some. Wherever you live on Vancouver Island, and you may look down and see some salmon fry, and then you might consider what kind of things you're going to do in that stream. Whether you're going to play in it or run your dog in it or whatever. You just might think twice about that, right?
Yeah.
So just looking ahead to the near future, the next couple of years, what could be some of the big needs that you would see your society looking at in the next few years?
So I guess probably the first one, and I know the fellow directors are aware of this, is that I'm 75,
Yeah.
and we are looking for an enthusiastic assistant hatchery manager.
Okay.
Because we're all volunteers
Yeah.
here, and you're doing it for the love of the salmon and
Yeah.
the watershed. And so that's probably the next
thing.
the number one. Number two would be DFO. In the last federal budget was cut back in their spending. We're not sure how that will affect us. We do get a nominal operation for the funds for the hatchery, but that may be cut back.
Yeah.
So that is a concern.
Yeah.
And certainly any improvements to the or maintenance and improvements to the infrastructure here at the hatchery is a concern.
Is a concern looking forward to you looking at equipment eventually wearing out and breaking down and needing replacement and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So there are continual needs moving forward, just like any enterprise, whether you're looking after your home or a business, that you got to look at replacing things that are going to wear out or hit their end of life. And that takes money and sometimes time and sometimes donations. You never know. If you own a business out there, you might have a product that could be of use to a hatchery, and if you contact them, you might find out that some of that PVC piping or whatever that you work with or produce or in your business or manufacture that could be of use to a hatchery, and a tax receipt for a donation in kind could always be a welcome thing to get. So finally, I want to ask you, Don, what got you involved? What prompted you to get involved in this particular hatchery?
So my neighbor asked me to come for a tour of the hatchery.
Okay, that's it.
he recruited me without saying that.
Yeah.
But I have been a fisherman, freshwater, saltwater, all my life. So when I got here, I really enjoyed finding out about the operations of the hatchery, the salmon, the restoration, and also working with fellow members.
Yeah.
And that for me has been a really positive, rewarding experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's It's how I got involved with Oyster River years ago. Somebody invited me to come along and see what they were doing, and then I put in 6 years there and was on their board and was their president for a couple of years. So it just kind of, they get you by the little finger and all of a sudden they've swallowed you whole. That doesn't have to happen. Lots of you I know might be working full time, you and your partner, and you're raising kids, and you can't give that kind of time. But you know, all of these hatcheries are really thankful for just half a day's help at a busy time of year, whether it's clipping fish or capturing broodstock or stripping them of their eggs and milk when it gets really busy. It's nice to have many hands on site just to help it out. And then you go about the rest of your life. And but you know you've done something to put it back into the community, and so that there's fish for the future for your kids and your grandkids. Well, thank you, Don. It's been a pleasure talking with you this morning and looking around the hatchery. I hope that I get a chance to come back here again and help out a busy time.
We'll take you up on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick, for coming and joining us.
All the best to you and your members.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
I think that went pretty well.
Yeah.